Hi, Miss Crystal.
Hi, Miss Schredemeyer. How are you doing today?
I'm in a silly mood. How about you?
Me too. I'm just so happy when I get to see you.
I know, and I get to talk to my friend. It's so great. I miss seeing you at work every day.
I do too, and I miss seeing everybody else too.
Me too.
Hopefully we get to see them sooner rather than later.
I know, this is crazy. But the last time we left off, we had shared the visualization strategy with everyone. And we asked that as you were listening to the last episode, that you drew some pictures that helped you to remind you and retell what happened in the chapters. And you said 4 people turned it in already.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just so proud that they are turning in this work and we're able to talk to them about some reading stuff. So we wanted to give a shout out to Audrey Lynn and Faith in first grade. And then Percy and Morgan again. I love that we get to hear from them every week. So please make sure you guys are responding to our messages because we love hearing from you and we love seeing how you feel about this book.
Makes our day.
It really does.
So this week, as we read these chapters, I was wondering, Miss Griswold, do you know what it means to be wise?
I do, and I hear that word a lot, and I think people most of the time think to be wise means to just be smart or old. But I think it means a little bit more than that. And then, so to be wise means not only to be smart, but it's somebody who's been through a lot of experiences. They've been through ups and downs in their life, and they're able to give some good advice because they've been through so many experiences in their own life. So to me, that's what wise means.
Very true. You are right. And Mr. Troy's over here waving his hand in the background like he's a wise person. All right. So today I'm going to start off reading. And as I read, I want you all to think about who are the wise characters, what kind of words of wisdom do they give, and what kind of plan are they setting in motion to kind of solve some of those problems that we've seen pop up so far. Chapter 21. Bongo, I said early that morning as the last stars faded like weary fireflies. There's something I need you to do. Does it involve potato chips? Bongo mumbled. No, then I'd rather sleep. It's about Samar. You promised you'd let me sleep in. I didn't promise. You implied. I want to grant Samar's wish. This roused Bongo. She fluttered down to her favorite branch, the one she'd nicknamed Home Plate. Bongo likes to watch the kids play softball at the elementary school. Red, you don't make wishes happen. You're the place where wishes go. You're like a leafy garbage can in a good way. For 216 rings, I've sat on my roots and listened to people hope for things. And a lot of times, those wishes never happened. I'm guessing. Bongo tucked a feather into place. Sometimes that's for the best. Remember that kindergartner who wanted a bulldozer? I'm passive. I just sit here watching the world. You're a tree, Red. That's the kind of job description. This is a good wish, and it's a wish I can make happen. I paused. Well, we can make happen. Yeah, I had a feeling that's where this was going. Bongo glided to the ground. Look, I heard Samar's wish. How exactly are you going to find her a friend? You'll see, I said, hoping I sounded more confident than I felt. Red. Bongo paced back and forth. With each step, her head bobbed forward. We've got more serious issues, pal. Francesca's talking about turning you into toothpicks. And your residents are frantic about where they're going to move if that happens. She came close and nudged me fondly. Of course, they're worried about you, too. I know that. Fresh baked bread poked her head out from under the porch. It was barely dawn, and only the white stripe running the length of her face was clearly visible. I've offered to take in one of the tree families temporarily, she announced. Preferably the possums. They're better behaved than the ewes. That's very generous of you, Fresh, I said. But I was interrupted by Big Ewe, the mother of the 3 raccoon babies. She was in my large hollow, grumbling under her breath. I beg your pardon, she exclaimed. You have excellent manners. They're too inquisitive, said Fresh Baked Bread. always poking their noses where they shouldn't be, grabbing things with those little paws of theirs. Well, at least they don't stink, Big U cried. And your children have paws last time I checked. Hairy Spiders, the mother possum, peeked out cautiously from her hollow. Possums name themselves after things they fear. Stink is in the nose of the beholder, said Hairy Spiders. And while I personally think your children have a delightful odor, fresh, I've already got dibs on the woodpile 2 doors down, should anything happen to Red. She patted me. No offense, love. Just thinking ahead, you know? No offense taken, I assured her. I saw that pile first, Big U cried. Share the skunk den, Hairy Spider said. I wouldn't be caught dead in that place, Big U exclaimed. Not now that I know my inquisitive children aren't wanted. Well, they are a bit boisterous, said Hairy Spiders. At least my children have spunk, said Big U. Your kids faint when they see their own shadows. Playing possum is a useful adaptation, said Hairy Spiders, her pink nose twitching. The world is a dangerous place, and in any case, we can't control it. It just happens. If I may interrupt, came a cool voice from my highest branches. It was Agnes. There's a nice-looking linden tree 2 blocks away, just vacated by a gray squirrel family. We are looking at it as a possibility, but there's a tomcat that runs loose there. Collar, no bell, so that's an issue. Also, a big, slobbery dog. In fairness, all dogs are slobbery, Bongo observed. I really think you should all calm down, I interrupted. Let's not buy trouble. One day at a time, my friends. Who knows what tomorrow may bring? The mothers glared at me. I heard a great deal of sighing. Too much, wise old tree? I asked. Too much, wise old tree, Bongo confirmed, as everyone retreated into their homes in a huff. They're all a bit tense, Bongo said, worried about your situation. I can see that. I'm worried too, Bongo said, almost whisper. I know, I said gently, but every cloud has a silver. Red, Bongo interrupted. Sorry, there must be something I can do, Bongo said. You're a good friend, Bongo, but sometimes all you can do is stand tall and reach deep. Red! Sorry, I said again. What will I do without you, Red? Bongo said softly. You'll be fine, my friend, I promise. We both fell quiet. At last, Bongo shook herself, feathers fluffing. In any case, maybe not the best time to be granting wishes is my point. Seems to me this is exactly the right time, I replied. Bongo groaned her little old man groan. She knew I wasn't backing down. And with that, we began to plan.
Ooh.
Chapter 22. We executed plan number 1 an hour and a half later when Stephen headed off to school. He'd gotten only as far as the sidewalk when Bongo dove straight toward his backpack, poking at the zipper with her beak. He called frantically. When crows want to be loud, they can be extremely loud. What? Stephen cried. What is wrong with you, bird? He dropped his backpack to the ground. Bongo landed on the backpack, looking up at him hopefully. Chip, please, she said. Stephen rolled his eyes. Seriously? Hello, Bongo said. Chip, please. Stephen put his hands on his hips. Okay, fine. I've seen you in action, working the bus line. Bongo hopped to the ground as Stephen unzipped his backpack. You rock, she said politely. Stephen pulled out his lunch bag and opened it. Let's see. I've got a tuna fish sandwich, carrot sticks, but before he could say anything more, Bongo plunged into the backpack, grabbed a sheet of paper, and flew skyward. Hey, that's my English homework, Stephen cried. Come back here, you thief. Bongo flew high into my branches and landed with a victorious call. Stephen stalked around the bottom of my trunk where the yellow police tape encircled me. Please, Crow, he pleaded. I'll give you my whole sandwich, please. Bongo perched on the paper, freeing her beak. No way, she replied. A few more minutes of grumbling and Stephen gave up. Great, he muttered as he grabbed his backpack. Miss Kellerman is never going to believe me when I tell her a crow ate my homework.
Oh, what a silly plan.
I wonder what Bongo's going to do with the English homework.
Yeah, I wonder. I guess we'll see. Chapter 23. When Samar exited her house, it was time for the rest of our plan. She paused, as she always did, to say hello, and Bongo, as she always did, said hello back. But this time, Bongo surprised Samar by landing on her shoulder and presenting her with a mangled piece of paper. Samar took it from Bongo. This has Stephen's name on it. Why on earth do you have it? No way, Bongo said, by way of an answer. Well, I'll be sure he gets this, Samar said. Bongo gave a little call and headed back to me. Perfect. A simple plan, beautifully executed. Samar would give the homework to Stephen. They'd strike up a conversation about the crazy crow in the big oak tree. They'd laugh. They'd share. They'd realize they'd have a lot in common. Voila! Friendship. It was a great plan. Except for the part that came just seconds later. The part where Samar noticed a friend of Stephen's walking by. She dashed over and asked him to give Stephen the piece of paper. And that was that.
Oh, man.
Meddling isn't as easy as I thought it would be, I confessed to Bongo. Hey, I did my part. You were wonderful, I said. Well, we'll just have to try again. We don't have a lot of time. Red, Bongo said with a sigh, please don't remind me. Chapter 24. That afternoon, we tried plan number 2. This isn't going to work, Red, Bongo said, strutting back and forth on the lawn. Pessimist, I said. Optimist, she replied. Secretly, I had my doubts, though. Our second plan required help from one of the babies. There had been much bickering over which baby would get to assist us. But then, there had been plenty of bickering ever since Francesca's threat to cut me down. It frustrated me to see my residents, the one who'd miraculously been getting along so well, turn on one another when faced with a problem. Granted, it was a big problem, but if I could handle it, it seemed like the least they could do was behave during our last days together. Bongo flipped a penny she kept in her collection of treasures, and we arrived at our helper, the smallest baby possum, Flashlight. Let me get this straight, said Bongo. You're afraid of Flash? Shh, Harry Spiders hissed. We try not to say that word around him. So what do you actually call him? Agnes asked. He answers to Flash, Harry Spiders explained. Well, Flash, said Bongo, you understand the drill, right? You pretend to be dead. You guys are good at that, right? Flash nodded excitedly. Opossums are the best dead pretenders in the world. So you play dead. Samar and Stephen see you as they're coming home from school. We're hoping they come home at about the same time today, I interrupted. And they freak out, Bongo continued. The cute little maybe dead baby talk about what to do. Are you certain this is safe? Asked Harry Spiders. I'm feeling a little faint just thinking about it. We'll all be watching, and Stephen and Samar are smart kids, I reassured her. They'll know not to touch a sick animal. So they go get their parents, call a wildlife rescue place or maybe a vet, and while they're busy, Bongo continued, little Flash runs back to his den. Samar and Stephen come back out, have a good laugh about the vanishing possum. Maybe the parents even get to talking. I really think you would do a better job, Big U complained. She's a born actor, or you. This has been officially decided, Bongo said firmly. We flipped the penny, remember? Just saying, Big U muttered. Down the street, the school dismissal bell rang. Places, everyone, Bongo urged. This is totally going to work, I said. This is totally going to fail, Bongo said at the very same instant. Ooh, I wonder if that second plan is going to work.
I wonder too.
Since the first one failed, at least they're trying a second one. They're not giving up.
Yeah, most stories have a lot of tried solutions before the one that actually works.
Absolutely. So, Miss Stratemeyer, you were asking before when we were reading for our friends to think about the wise characters. So we know that words of the wiser are given a lot in books where these characters are giving advice and trying to solve these problems. So what we want you guys to do, and we're going to put this post below this link where you'll find this YouTube in Schoology. We want you in the last couple chapters to share with us which characters do you think are the wise characters and why. So using the events and the details that you just heard in these past couple chapters, who are some of the wise characters and why?
Good. And it'll blow our socks off if you use some of that text evidence.
Absolutely. Well, we look forward to hearing everybody's responses about who the wise characters are, because there might be one, there might be a couple.
Yeah, and we'll take your answers as long as you can defend them. So we can't wait to see what happens with the second plan and see if Samar and Stephen become friends. And we also can't wait to see you all again next week.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Stay safe, everybody. See you next week.
Bye,
Bye, Ms. Stratemeyer.